So the next project that we're going to work on is a bird feeder. Why bird feeders, you might ask? Well, it is spring and we're going to start seeing lots of activity from our feathered friends. This is one way to support New Mexican wildlife, connect with our environment, and maybe get to watch some of our flying neighbors up close. So, materials that you're going to need are some string. I have lots of different kinds here. I'm probably going to use this one. And we're going to need 3 feet of string, so you're going to need some scissors to cut that with. So you're going to need some scissors. You're going to need some paper towels because it might get a little bit wet. We're just going to keep them to the side. We're going to need a screwdriver. You're going to see what that's for in a minute. And you're going to need a knife. So I'm going to get small knife over here. If you're a young person and you're not good at using knives, get help from somebody who's bigger than you who knows how to use a knife safely. We're going to just cut maybe about almost 2/3 up the side of the orange. It doesn't matter which you use, this one side or the other. Maybe the side's a little bit flatter, so I'll use that on the bottom. That'll be the bottom of my bird feeder, and we're going to just push a little bit with the knife as we go around the sides and all the way around until we make a full circle. The next thing that we're going to do, and I might make a couple cuts on the top to make it a little bit easier. We're not going to cut the bottom part, just the top. And I'm going to peel this off. Can you see me peeling this off? Okay, we're going to peel off the top. This is where it's going to get messy. Get yummy too. I just remembered you're going to probably want a bowl nearby. I'm going to get a bowl. And you're going to take the inside of this orange, leaving this all whole, and they're going to put that inside. So I'm going to cut on the inside here a little bit. And then I'm going to do something different. I'm going to take a spoon. If you're little, you might be able to get your fingers in there, but I don't think I can. So I'm going to just cut around a little bit all the way around, make some room on the inside of that orange. And then I am going to get my spoon in there, and it'll start opening up the outside. And you're going to want to cut, you might have to cut some of this out. I've only gotten it out whole once or twice. It'll get messy. And you might say, but you're wasting that whole orange. Oh, heck no. I like to make an orange. I'll chop it up and I'll put it in a fruit salad. It's delicious. You can make orange juice. There's a lot of juice already in the bowl. Here we go. We're almost there. So this is where the person with the knife might make a little bit of a cut inside there to cut some of the orange pith away from the orange itself. And feel in there with your hands. Don't worry about getting messy. You can wash your hands when you're done. And I'm going to pull it right out. There's one part of it. And there's the other part. Here it comes. Here it comes. All right, this might be not as useful for a pretty snack, but you get the idea. So there we go. We're going to take the last bit out. At least put it in your compost. So the next thing that we're going to do, it should look like this. And we're going to scrape it out with your spoon. And that's your basic base of a bird feeder. And you might say, but oranges are squishy and they're wet, and if a bird lands on it, it'll just fall apart because they're too heavy. But guess what? Orange peels are pretty durable, and when it dries, it's going to be pretty much like wood. This is one that I made last year, and I took some of the string and I just made it like almost like a little basket around the edge. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I could turn that back into a bird feeder again. This one I made just about 3 or 4 days ago, and I'm going to show you how we get to our next step so you can have a bird feeder that's ready to go outside. So the next thing you're going to need, remember I said that screwdriver? You might say, what do you need a screwdriver for? About one finger down from the edge. Not too close to the edge. You don't want the edges to rip because you're going to put a string in it, remember? There we go. You can see the string. And you can see where I ripped it, and then I moved over. Sometimes that's okay. If you make a mistake, there's always a way to fix it. So pick a spot right here, and you're just going to turn the screwdriver a little bit, and it goes right through the other side without much pushing, and just pull it right out again. Now you have a nice little neat hole. And now you're going to, you can do it 3 or 4 times if you like. I like to do it 3 times. 1, 2, 3, like in a Y. 1, 2, 3. Can you see that? Where I'm going to put another hole right here on the bottom. And then I'm going to put another hole right over here on the side, going from the outside to the inside. Now you're going to take your string. You're going to need about 3 feet of string. You don't have to measure it exactly, but I'm going to unwind a whole bunch here, and I'm going to show you a trick for measuring a foot of string. Everybody has different size arms, but if you measure from your hand to your elbow, that's about 1 time around. So do that 3 times. Go back again and down again, so you have 3 strings. You see that? 3 strings. They're all together. I'm going to give a little bit extra at the end before I cut it off. Measure twice, cut once. And then I'm going to take some of this string and I'm going to pull it through. And I'm going to tie a knot on the side. Can you see that? I'm going to just tie a knot right there. I'm going to move the paper towel so you can see. Don't make it too tight, or when this is still soft, you'll rip through. Can you see what I did here by accident? I did that. I made a rip right there, and I had to move it over to the next. I made another hole next to it. So that one's still there. I had to move it over. It's okay. The birds don't care. They'll be happy to get their bird food. So we're going to make a knot here, and we're going to tie it a couple of times, whatever you think, so it won't go anywhere. Again, the birds don't care. Pull your string up by about 1 foot, and at the top you can make a loop, and at the loop, whoops, at the loop, it just helps. You don't have to. It helps though to make a loop. I'm going to take that loop right here, and I'm going to make a knot so it stays there and it holds its shape. You see how I did that? I'm just going to pull that there. Now I'm going to take the end of the string, and from the inside out, I'm going to find the next hole on the side of the orange. Actually, it doesn't matter if it goes inside out or outside in. It's up to you. And I'm going to pull that through. And then, whoops, I'm going to pull that up. See how I pulled that taut? And that's the length of my string there. And now I'm going to tie one more knot here. Not too tight, just enough, get that up, just enough to hold a space. And then I can go over to the other side, to this one. This is getting a little loose. And from the inside out or the outside in, whichever one you want. You could cut it right here and then start over if you want. Maybe I'll do that. It'll look a little neater that way. I'm going to do that. I'm going to tie this one more time. Don't pull too tight or you pull right through. Just a little bit loose. Everything dries, and it dries hard, so it's pretty awesome. So there's that hole. If it starts to close up on you, just make the hole again so you can see what you're doing. I'm going to do this again one more time and tie a knot in the bottom. So I am on the third, 1, 2, 3, the third string. I'm tying a knot there, and then I have this string. I have these two up in the loop, and I'm going to tie this one up at the top too. So I'm going to wrap it around and tie just a simple knot. I tied one knot like you're tying your shoes, and then tie another knot again. That makes a square knot just by taking one right on top of the other. Right there. And that stays pretty tight. So now we have a loop in the top, and we have 3 strings in the bottom, and we have a hanger. Can you see that? So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take some of this paper towel and we're going to roll it up in a ball and we're going to stuff it. You might say, I want to put it out right now. If you put your orange out right now in the sunshine filled with bird seed, it will shrivel up until it's really tiny, tinier than a tangerine. They can really shrink a lot. So give yourself about 24 hours here, just like this, and your bird feeder will be ready to hang in the tree in about a day or 2. All you need to add is a little bit of seed. I found some seed that said wild bird seed that's made for the Southwest. I really like attracting birds here in the Southwest. We get lots of finches, and the sparrows like it too. The doves like it too. And who knows, maybe I'll attract some new birds. So I'm going to hang this, is ready to hang in the tree, and we're good to go. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you can come again next time when we make something new with our hands. Making history in New Mexico. See you next time.